Yo, never thought I'd be making a video like this. Woohoo! And hey, what a way to do a voice reveal. Ooh. First things first, for everyone who's wondering what happened and didn't get a chance to read the community post, every song and every video on the channel is gone. It has all been wiped. Everything. The channel received 2 copyright strikes in the span of 2 days. First arrived on June 30th, and the second arrived on July 1st. Under YouTube's copyright strike system, if you get 3 of those within the same period, your channel terminated, any other channels you have terminated, and you cannot create a new channel while this termination is in effect. So when I saw the second strike and realized we were 1 away from losing everything, and not just the channel, but like my personal account, years of my own playlists, subscriptions, I had to do what was better for me and better for my account in the long term. And in doing so, I had to wipe everything. Now, whether YouTube would actually remove everything is up to their discretion, but there are a lot of stories online about everything getting affected by people when something like this happens, and I just wasn't willing to take chances. So, I did the safest thing that I thought I could do at the time and had to do a full wipe. It is unfortunate, it is disheartening, but that is simply what happened. So, why'd I get 2 copyright strikes? It's kind of my fault. It's also not my fault, but it's kind of my fault. I'll try and keep things short, but the fan art I used in the videos is what got the channel copyright striked. So for those who don't know, I was not making all of the art used visually on the channel. I was using fan art. Now, there were some fan artists who had pages on Pixiv or whatever that said, feel free, use my art, credit me or whatever. But there are 2 pieces of artwork that did not have a disclaimer. I didn't get in touch with the artist, but I made the assumption that it would be okay to use because I saw it on other videos. Now, is that my mistake? Yes. And is it technically well within their right to copyright strike and remove the videos because of that fan art? Also correct. That is fully within their rights. Now, do I think this could have been handled better? And do I think potentially the reason they decided to do a copyright strike instead of simply emailing and asking for the videos to be taken down because they had other motives behind the scenes? Yes. Yes, I do. Now, I can't prove that. There's a lot of implications that that's the case based on what I've seen and gotten back, but I can't prove that. But I'm going to try and explain things as quickly as possible. So let's begin. So, as what I hope will not be a shock to anyone, because I've included it in my channel bio and in all of the video's descriptions, I use AI tools in the production of the music that I have been making. Hopefully that doesn't come to a shock to you. If it does, sorry. But it has been publicly available and in the descriptions and bio and whatnot. I'm not going to argue with people on the usage of AI or AI tools or being AI assisted. That's a whole can of worms I don't really care about getting into or care about discussing. I'm just going to share easily in a simplified manner how I have made all the songs on this channel. So going back to December 2025, I had lost my job and I needed something to do to keep myself sane. And it just so happened that at the time, Lene's song, Catch Me If You Can, came out. And my brain, being the stupid way it is, was like, ooh, what if it was like disco? So I wanted to create a disco cover of her song. So I don't typically use a DAW. My music experience is limited to the classical piano training I had as a kid and choir all the way through my high school and up until my college years. That is my musical experience. So I have some musical experience under my belt that I'm happy with, that I enjoyed very much, but not anything related to actual like full-on music production. But I know how to draw out a MIDI file. I know how to, make notes, draw the notes. So that's what I did, basically. I would draw the MIDI. Now, I like to take shortcuts and everything. So I took the original song and split it into stems and then had those stems converted into MIDI files. I then fixed those up and then edited them and then added more MIDI tracks and edited those. And, so I was drawing out the notes and choosing, ooh, I want right here a note to go doo-doo-doo, and down here a note to go bum, 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 bum. So I was making all of those creative decisions. The problem is MIDI notes alone, even if you choose like an instrument in your DAW, they don't sound good. It sounds synthesized. You have to do things like automation. So you add swells and, it's not always going to be the same volume. And there's a lot of work that goes into actually making whatever you make sound good in a DAW. And for those people who do that professionally or as a hobby, I applaud you, because it is a lot of hard work. I have tried it. It's not for me. You got to remember, back then at the start, 6 months ago, I was doing this simply because I wanted this song made. So I heard from a friend who is still in college in a music course at the local community college near me, that they started integrating AI tools into the classroom at college. Now, I've revealed this before, but I'm in Texas. We are a very pro AI state, so I'm not surprised in the slightest. And I figured, you know what? I might as well try it. You know what? Don't knock something until you try it. So I did. It kind of blew me away in both a good and a bad way. So what I did was I inputted the MIDI that I had created into this program, A-Step, and basically said, from whatever track I had, turn this into a synth pad. This is the style I want, whatever, or turn this into a bass. And I want the bass to be this synthesizer sound from this genre of music, etc. And then it would spit out a generated version of audio following the notes I wrote, but in that style. It was shockingly good. Not all of them. I mean, it is still AI, so it has mistakes, it has artifacts in it, but it was good enough to the point that I was like, holy, this is insane. And for my workflow, as someone who just wanted to make this song, it was perfect. Like, I don't care. This is great. It sounds great. It's following what I wanted to make, and I don't have to spend hours upon hours fiddling in a DAW. Now, you can argue that's taking a shortcut, that's cheaping out on things. That's well within your right. You can argue that you shouldn't use AI in any capacity in any creative works. That is also fair. But that's what I did. So I then took all of the tracks and everything and took the ones I liked the best, combined them together, and exported it. And that was how I made the music. And it sounded good. It followed my notes. It actually sounded like real instruments and whatnot, and I enjoyed it. Vocals were a similar process. A-Step also has a voice synthesizer built into it, so I ended up using that for most of the vocals. I mean, I have tried other programs, VocoFlex, Synthesizer 5, Studio Pro, but I, obviously unemployed, didn't have the money. I had to refund those because I just couldn't, even though I liked them, I couldn't feasibly see myself continuing to use them and it be worthwhile for the money I spent.
Kick into gear, I'm on a fast lane, riding the feeling. City lights are playing hide and seek, hear me calling. No destination, cold wind kissing my cheeks. Don't fight the urge, follow my lead. Come on, full throttle, make it double. Blur the line in gold and pearl and rose. Kick into gear, I'm on a fast lane, riding the feeling. City lights are playing hide and seek, hear me calling. No destination, cold wind kissing my cheeks. Don't fight the urge, follow my lead. Come on, full throttle, make it double. Blur the line in gold and pearl and rose.
Now that is a very rough oversimplification on the full process, but that's how I made the music, basically. But there you go. That is a full-blown explanation on how I do things. Well, simplified. So on January 1st, 2026, I uploaded the cover of Catch Me If You Can, but it's disco, to the YouTube channel. At the time, this was just meant to be a one-off. The channel was named Queen Lene. I was literally just so down bad for her that I just wanted to do anything for her. And this may come as a shock to people, but SSR Sound is my second YouTube channel. I have a main channel, still in the gacha space, but I only stream the story playthroughs and gameplay and make reaction videos and the occasional opinion and discussion video. I know, shocking. But that's the kind of content I made over there, and I made a second channel just to post this one song because I felt it wouldn't fit in with my main channel, if you know what I mean. So because of that, I wasn't really paying attention to the second channel. So surprise, surprise, when I come back to the channel and check the YouTube studio and see that it is the most viewed video that I have ever made. Yeah. People were saying they loved it. People saying they thought it was better than the original, which, okay, that's some high praise. Holy. And then a bunch of people asking, do this one next, or what about this song? Or you have to understand, I had no clue what I was doing. I made one cover that just so happened to work out by chance. And it was born by me messing around with MIDI files, AI tools, and just doing like general, ooh, maybe this will be cool. This was not meant to be anything at all. But I saw the comments and, you know, being jobless, I had the free time. So I thought, sure. And that's just kind of how the channel came to continue and grow to the state it is at, or was at before everything got wiped. Yeah, kind of dug into my niche within everything that I found worked really well. Song from game, but it's music genre. Yeah. So that's basically how the channel came to be, how everything worked, and how I created things. Now, we can have a whole discussion on whether the way I use the tools is good or bad, whether that is slop, as a lot of people referred to it, or, you know, super creative. I don't know. All I know is I wanted to make a song that I loved, and I wanted to make it in a new way, and, experiment. And this was how I was doing it. And I just so happened to share it online, and a bunch of other people also liked it. That's just how it is. I had ridiculous ideas that will never see the light of day. Like there's a version of Dami Dami that I started working on that's like old school hip hop inspired. Yeah, that's not ever getting released. An electro swing version of Monodrama. That one was good, but I was like, eh. Ooh, the jazz rock salsa fusion. Yeah, that's a genre right there. Version of the Graphia Boss theme from HSR. Ooh, it started off so good, and then it just fell apart in the middle, and I was like, damn. And I'm doing this for fun, so I'm not super going in and being like, this is professional. I need to make sure that everything sounds right, and I need to go through and fix it. Like, if something doesn't work out, but it was fun, it was fun, and I push it aside and I move on, but I digress. The channel grew faster than I ever expected. There is 5,000 of you. What the heck? But you all guided me more than you can imagine. The flares of the blazing sun, but it was bluegrass. That was a comment suggestion. I did not come up with that idea. The same thing with Perfect Idol, but salsa. That was also a comment. I am so grateful for the amount of people who decided to stop by and be like, ooh, we should try this, or oh my gosh, this sounds so good. I appreciate it. I really do. Now, there is one misconception that I've seen repeated that I'm here now. I can confirm or deny it. That basically said I was starting to upload things to Spotify and whatnot because I was trying to build a massive music business and rake in the cash. Don't get me wrong. I like money. Need it to survive. But not only was that never the intention, that's not the reality of things. I was never going to upload to Spotify or Apple Music. I was originally just going to keep things YouTube only because, YouTube is where everyone already was. If I'm not going to lie, I listen to most of my music off of YouTube, but I felt it was just better because people could watch the video, read other comments. And, but I kept getting comments asking, put this on Spotify. So I folded, I'm a people pleaser. So I did. And, had to distribute that through a distributor. They act as a middleman. That costs money. And then most of the songs are cover songs, which means I had to buy licenses for them. And that also costs money. Like, not cheap. So the people who were saying I was doing all this for money, unfortunately, no, I was in the red. This was in the red. So, it is what it is. I was making them because people enjoyed them and because I was having fun. And that's the whole reason for all of this. Unfortunately, right around the time I had finally kind of gotten my groove and was like, okay, I can do this, something happened that has completely changed the trajectory of things. Strangely enough, it did not start on my channel. It started on someone else's. So on June 26, 2026, Wuthering Waves creator Ruby uploaded a behind-the-scenes video from the game's second anniversary event in Los Angeles. I watched it because, like many of you, I enjoy her content. And at one point during the video, my disco cover of Catch Me If You Can was playing in the background. It was very surreal, very, very surreal. And I want to make it extremely clear, I never contacted her asking her to use the music. As far as I know, she simply found the song and thought it fit. Unfortunately, not everyone felt the same way. Obviously, I think I've built up a community who's okay with how I've made music, but not everyone is. And that's fair. People can have their opinions. But she was getting a bunch of comments under her channel in that video criticizing her for using the music. Not now, they were criticizing the music too, but they were mainly criticizing her, which, okay, in my opinion, that's wrong. You do not need to be doing that. You're free to have an opinion on my work or the tools I use, but criticizing someone else just because they used that track, ooh, that struck a chord with me. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that these people were doing that. But unfortunately, I had viewed her video late, and I typically don't go in and monitor the comment sections on videos, so I wasn't aware what was happening. So I just kept planning things as normal. Other people had requested and suggested genre swaps, and I was like, okay, let's try. Let's see. But everything changed then. I got the email from YouTube. Not a copyright ID claim, a copyright strike. Logged in, saw 2 active strikes. One more, the channel would be terminated. I wiped everything. I, had to protect everything. So after the initial panic settled down, I did start looking more carefully at the copyright notices and everything. 2 videos were claimed for the fan art. Okay. Yeah. So using the fan art is what bit me in the butt. Now, what's interesting though, is YouTube provides you as the creator the contact information and legal name of the person who submitted the claim against you. Obviously, we're not sharing that here. I'm not a monster, but it did allow me to do something very important. Allowed me to contact them directly. So I wrote what I believed was quite a respectful email, apologized for using the artwork without permission, explained that I was willing to remove the affected content permanently, and asked if they would consider retracting the copyright strikes. At this point, obviously, I was still kind of in a haze and rushing, and I believed I was still talking to the 2 actual artists, the fan artists who made that work, who sent the request. And, even if I was disappointed, I could understand it. Whatever. While all this was happening, I made the original community post explaining, hey, everything's gone. I'm sorry, y'all. And, that response was overwhelming. Reading all of those comments, simultaneously while wondering if the channel would disappear was, something. A little while later, I got more information. So this was a little concerning. Obviously, I have blurted out, but one of the people who commented on Ruby's video dissing my music, saying that I don't belong in the community, is one of the same people who submitted one of the copyright strikes. And I can confirm that. I checked the email address. I have the account information. They send that to me as the person who was striked against. I'm not going to lie. That does leave a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, but it is what it is. It was also interesting to me because when I dug deeper into that specific claim, they're not the fan artist. They were a random third party. So at first I thought, are they just striking it because of that? Like, what's going on here? Very confused. Thankfully, a little while later, one of the strikes responded via email. And I hadn't read it yet. I was expecting a simple no or, oh, yeah, okay, delete it and we'll resend it or whatever. But I received an email that completely changed my understanding of what happened and really upped my suspicions that there was a deeper reason behind why things were done this way. So let's dig into that. It starts off saying, I'm part of a Discord community of musicians that is aware of your AI-generated content, and many of us are concerned about the growing use of generative AI within the gacha music community. So first things first, they also are not the original fan artist. Once again, I was a little confused, and it definitely raised more questions than it answered, for I thought we were discussing the artwork that was used. But instead, the very first thing being responded to was the music, not the artwork. But I continued reading. Several of the artworks used in your content have been reported to their original artists. Using another artist's work without permission or an appropriate license raises serious copyright and ethical concerns. Fair. I mentioned earlier in this very video that I used the artwork without explicit permission simply because I assumed it would be fine. I will take full responsibility for that. That's my fault, and I didn't really think things through. Not to excuse what I did, but just as an explanation. In my mind, everything was still just a hobby. So I just kind of slapped things together and pushed it out there because, cool. But I understand that was not the correct course of action. Lesson learned. The email continues. After speaking with a number of the artists, they asked members of our community to help report unauthorized uses of their work, as many of them are unfamiliar with the DMCA process. This has now twisted things again and changed my understanding of everything that has happened. Now, I have no direct proof for things, but what this now is reading is that the original artists were not necessarily ever going to copyright strike videos using the artwork. In fact, I am willing to bet money that some of the other videos on YouTube using those same pieces of artwork are still up on the platform. What this reads is that this Discord group was unhappy and therefore contacted the fan artists to then get their permission to then copyright strike me down. Now, I have no proof of this, but to me, that is reading what it is, highly likely. Now, they are well within their rights to do that. I use the fan art, they can copyright strike it down. That is technically legal. But it is quite interesting how they decided to go that route with the copyright striking and whatnot, and decided that, they wouldn't first email and ask for removal of the video or contact saying, hey, can you reimburse us for this? No, their first method of contact and step was to copyright strike. It really puts into perspective a lot of things. Continuing on, as a musician myself, I also discussed your content with several established music creators who reviewed it. Based on their assessment, we believe the music was created primarily through AI rather than traditional human production methods. As I mentioned earlier in my short little simplified version of how I make the music, I am making all of the creative decisions, but the audio itself is being generated with AI, partially. I have tried to include more regular DAW instruments because I wanted to learn, but it's not something that has been super first and foremost for me, I guess you could say. I found a workflow that worked, and I was having fun with it. I am somewhat concerned on what this assessment consisted of, because obviously in my case, I know that I've used AI. In fact, I've even put disclaimers that I used AI. But if this assessment is conducted on a creator who, say, isn't using AI, would you hold the same accusations against them? Very concerning, at least in my eyes. Moving on. Their final paragraph concludes with, "We will not be sending you any copyright strikes to prevent your channel from deletion." From this first line, I'm going to assume they mean this Discord community. The message then continues, "So please take this time to reflect and learn some human production skills." Having said that, please do keep in mind that you have pissed off a lot of musicians in the community. So even if I stop, someone else may come after you. Well, that's certainly a thinly veiled threat. I mean, I'm not surprised. I get it. In a world where AI seems to be taking over everything, and ironically, the first thing it is taking over is the arts, the thing that we expected would be left to humans, I get the pessimism. I do. But this whole thing comes across, at least to me, as this group of musicians in the gotcha space. Apparently, I don't have any actual channels or artists that I can tie this to. They did not like the fact that I was using AI tools in the production of my tracks while simultaneously, I guess, getting viewership, and therefore decided to find out a way to take me down, and they just so happened to do so through the fan art I was using. That said, I have no proof of this, but simply based on the email that was received and all the other information I had gathered, that seems to be what the most likely scenario is. Whether you agree with them or not, I will leave that up to you, the viewer. Moving on, in terms of re-uploading the music, I hope to do it at some point in the future. Obviously, a lot of you really, really liked them. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed everything that this channel has been over the last 6 months. It has certainly been a learning experience and an exciting little experiment for me. Maybe now I'll stop neglecting my main channel and actually get back to that. Heck, maybe that channel will finally blow up. Fat chance. To everyone who's supported SSR Sound, whether you listened once or every single week, thank you. Thank you for every comment, every suggestion, every ridiculous genre idea. You turned what started as a random hobby into something I never imagined. And for that, I'll always be grateful. Take care of yourselves. And hopefully, I'll see you again soon.